Hello and welcome back to another episode of Critical Reactions with your host Bryan. We're going to continue on with this week's theme of exploring songs where there are two or more languages being used in the lyrical side of the song. Today we're going to be checking out a track from Stereolab, who we have had on the channel before. This one's called Captain EasyChord, which I kind of like the sound of that. I'm hoping that the chords are easy to digest and maybe even easy to listen to. Just very calm, soothing music. But let's dive in and see what Stereolab has in store for us today. Interesting extensions on the chords. We don't stay with each chord for the same amount of time. We are in 4/4, we are in 4-bar phrases, but the odd rhythmic cadence of the chords is what makes it feel a little awkward. A lot of simple layers that are coming together into something very joyful. I'm really digging this. A little bit of a country twang going on there. Cool counterpoint. Counterpoint or can't? I think it was counterpoint. There's definitely some overlap in the two vocal lines. Ooh. A little bit of hocket going on with the brass. There's definitely a laid-back element to a lot of this. Another use also hocket. A special kind of hocket though, where it's kind of equal showcasing of both sides. Okay, what? Oh, the bells, that was nice. The last vocal, interesting warbliness. The vocals that came in just previously had some interesting intonation elements to them, bringing in just a hair bit of dissonance, but not stable harmonic dissonance, more of like singing just a hair bit off key. But it seemed intentional given how consistent the vocals are. The shakers feel acoustic. Everything else has a very digital edge to it, though. Okay. Yeah, I thought, I was like, dang, that ended a little soon. I thought we had a little bit more time. We did, like full 20 seconds left after the organ quits. And then we just get another bell jingle and then the silence. That's it's an interesting ending. I don't know how to interpret it yet. It does seem, I guess, just unexpected. It's probably a good word for it. Functionally, it seemed like we should have done that a couple more times, but they chose not to abruptly stop it and then just allow one last bell jingle. Huh. Well, in sort of a common-ish theme this week, I'm really enjoying the plethora of sounds on this one. We had this yesterday as well with, who was that? Sleepytime Gorilla Museum. The first song that we checked out yesterday, called The Companions. That song had a ton of really cool instrumentation in it, and this one is very similar. Now, granted, this one, though, in an interesting, other side of the same coin kind of deal, this one's very electronic. Some of the instruments do sound acoustic. We have some shakers in here. We have some brass. We have some guitars. But I wonder kind of if some of that, or even all of it, is just really good sample libraries. Because once we hit the midpoint of the song, the rest of the track is all electronic. We have organs, we have synths, we have digital drum pads. The bells, even those could be digital. So either we move from something more acoustic to something more electric, or it has been digital this entire time, and we're looking at all sorts of cool keyboard patches and sample libraries. Regardless, it has a very, very different feel from Sleepytime Gorilla Museum's general sound, the palette that they're painting with here. But what is consistent or similar between the two is just all of the sounds. And I really love that. And it's also a second track this week where we get some brass, so I'm always down for that. And it also consistently evolves its sound throughout the track by the use of new timbres. So it's interesting just how many parallels I can draw between these two tracks, despite being incredibly different songs. But it has been a treat, I think, for my ears, just all of this sonic candy. Having all of these different timbres and sounds and shapes and effects that we've been able to listen to this week. Which, I'm not trying to throw rock or metal under the bus or anything, but there's only so long you can listen to drums and guitars and harsh vocals before you want something more varied. Classical week was a pretty good one as well. And this week is kind of treating me nicely too. So I'm quite enjoying that. And it's maybe why it's so prominent. I think I kicked off the Sleepytime reaction the same way. The first analysis bit was just like, listen to all the sounds they used. It's definitely on my mind listening to this stuff. Now, the other thing that I like here is the ways that the instruments work in tandem with each other. We do have hocket in here, which is where two or more instruments are playing the same idea, but they take turns playing parts of it. So if you write out a single melody and then divvy out the first three notes to one instrument, then the second notes to another instrument, and then the next, I don't know, four notes to a third instrument, go back to that second instrument for one note and back to the first for, however you want to slice it up and dole it out to different instruments. The general idea is that you have a single musical idea that sort of bounces around between the instruments. And we hear some of that in here. Particularly, I think that the trumpet duet showcased it really well. And while the instrument itself is identical, maybe the two trumpets sound very close in timbre, which is why I kind of think that, it could just be one person double tracking. Oh, it could have been done in post as well. One single take and then chop it up and bounce it between the two channels. But also it could be just started out entirely as a sample library, which is why it sounds so perfect all the time. Regardless though, the timbre sounds the same, which kind of makes it tough to kind of get into that hocket feeling, but because it bounces back and forth between sharp left and sharp right as far as its placement, it achieves a hocket feel. We also saw this later on at the beginning of the second part of the song, the finale. I guess this was about 3 minutes in. We had the shaker and a couple of different drum sounds, percussion sounds. And the percussion sounds were all pitched and they all kind of came in these different timings. Very melodic style of drumming. Another, again, kind of a hocketed idea there. I thought that was pretty cool. There was a third section in here too. I wasn't sure if it was, actually, this might have been the trumpet part. Yeah, I don't think it was the third one. I think it was the trumpet part. The back half of it kind of started to bleed over into canon territory rather than hocket. And what a canon is it's when two or more instruments play the exact same thing, but they have staggered entrances. So one instrument will play bar 1. When they get to bar 2, you can stretch this out as much as you want, but for instance here, they get to bar 2 and another instrument starts on bar 1 and now they're right behind each other. And when they shift over, you have a third instrument that comes in on bar 1 and they're always one bar behind each other, or 2 bars or 4 bars, however much time you want in your staggered start. And I say that because the two trumpet lines got to a point where instead of trading off parts, they started to overlap ideas, and it sounded like they were playing near identical concepts, just displaced by time. And so maybe it was a hocket that shifted into a canon, maybe it was a hocket that shifted into counterpoint, two or more distinct melodic ideas happening simultaneously. So there's just generally a lot of layered melodic writing going on in this track that kind of falls under a couple of different concepts, but certainly gives the song a type of layering and distinct complexity to it. Now, I think the final thing I want to bring up here then is the diversity on this track. Everything in it feels laid back. To me, the word easy going definitely plays into a lot of this song. There are some moodier sections and some more elated sections, but they're not extremities. It's sort of just by comparison, we kind of see these two, but generally everything in here isn't densely layered. It isn't intensely layered. There is a general element of cool, laid back effortlessness going on in this track. But despite that, there's still quite a few different sounds going on. We have sort of a more country bluesy thing going on. Got a nice southern drawl. We have some like bent or slid guitar notes and just a general westerny kind of vibe going on there. This is contrasted with what to me almost sounds Latin American inspired, with the brass in particular kind of brightening the sound, but also a shift in the rhythms that the drums and the rest of the percussion are laying down. It ends up feeling more dancey than most of the parts of this track. most of the other parts of this track, and this is sort of our two opposing sides. Again, not like super bombastic joyousness and, you know, gripping, crushing dreariness, but something a little more bluesier and something a little bit more upbeat, sort of balancing each other out. Towards the end of the song, though, we begin to, I don't even know how to describe it. The only way I can say this is like a early to mid 2010s pop folk vibe. It's just very light and completely inoffensive. Like, let me just see if I can find a part of this song so that y'all can hear exactly what I'm talking about. Right here. There's just something about it that's very chill, very laid back, listenable by just about anyone. It's very inoffensive, very chill. And particularly, I think it reminds me of Jason Mraz. I hope I'm remembering that artist's name, or at least maybe that brings up an artist that is similar to that. I can't ever remember a song. That's the problem. Like, this feeling is very ingrained into me because it was pretty much all over department store radio at the time. And I worked at a department store. I heard this type of music, this sort of laid back, inoffensive, just very chill background music in the pop realm, day in and day out for years. But I never like knew a song title. I never knew an artist name. It's just like, I know this sound. And this particularly brought me back to that. And I think it's interesting that we've moved kind of across this entire spectrum here while still retaining something that I think is very Stereolab. It doesn't sound like we're jumping between genres as sharply as we are because the production and the instrumentation is very similar throughout. But I'm curious what it all means, too. This is different I mean, we have bluesier, we have dancier, we have chill and relaxed. It's all generally around this easygoing center, but it pulls in different directions, and it explores these different sounds that are adjacent to, but not totally connected to these other sounds. And somehow it all works. No part of this track really had me saying, really? That's where you're going? That's kind of weird, right? I was certainly at some points a little confused. How did we get here? But once we got into it, I start to see, oh, okay, so these things kind of click with what we were doing. And by the end of the song, I was like, okay, yeah, you just kind of accept that journey. That isn't something that always happens to me when we have such varied sounds in a track. Something about this click, something about it is Stereolab's. It's their DNA, it's their sound, it's their composition style, it's their production. Something's tying it all together. And I don't know what that is, but it is certainly there. I call out this kind of stuff too often, disjointedness in structure. And it's something that I feel in a lot of music. It's just this visceral element. So when a song doesn't have a lot of cohesion to it, it stands out to me like a sore thumb. And this one doesn't. At the end, it feels rather cohesive. So I don't know what they're doing, but they're doing something right. But I rather enjoyed this. It was kind of like a ship, a boat sailing through the water. Kind of go with the flow. You got the waves going, but it's very chill, relaxing. Sometimes things get a little rougher, the waters get a little choppy, but never does it enter into anything crazy. It's just always relaxing. And I can certainly enjoy a track like that. Let's hit some lyrics. And this song is about going with the flow. Starts off, there's actually not a lot of unique lyrics. There's a lot of repeated phrases here. It says, let live what must live and die what must die. Birth comes with a death, comes with a rise. So it says that life just goes. You can't stop life. You can't stop death. They're two sides of the same coin. Every life will eventually lead to its death. There's no immortality. It says, just let things be. Now, this is multilingual week. We do have some French in here, but the French part is just what we read in French. Let live what must live, let die what must die. There is one extra line here though, says, don't hold back and don't resist. I really like that. Live life to your fullest, but don't cling to it. When it's your time, it's your time. Then we have a part that's just ba-da-da-da, ba-da-da-da. I don't know what the actual melody is, but it just says ba-da-da-da in the lyrics. So I actually don't remember that part. I wonder if there was some cool instrumentation going along, or maybe I actually, well, could have been production on it, had me interpreting it as an instrument instead of voice. I don't know. I don't remember that, but it's definitely a go with the flow kind of thing, right? And the final line says, the plants in my garden flourish, seed, and perish. Cycle of life right there. If it's good enough for your flowers, it's good enough for nature, it should be good enough for us too. That's just the way things go. All things. Very chill, very laid back. It's letting the water roll down your back, letting the bad things just roll. And just chill. I like this song. Musically, beautiful. Lyrically, totally up my alley. You really don't find too many people more laid back than me. Yeah, that's hyperbolic, sure, but in my experience, I don't think I know anyone who's more chill. I was just like patting myself on the back here, but it's true. I'm a very laid back person. These types of lyrics resonate with me so strongly. And not because it's who I want to be. It's because it kind of is who I am. I don't know if I come across as a laid back person, but you know, internet, right? You can't put your whole self out there. Even if it's unintentional. Actually, this is interesting. We talked about this a while ago on a different track. Every internet personality, myself included, only puts out, a curated portion of themselves. I'm not saying I'm not authentic. You just don't get to see all of me. So I don't know if this like casual chillness, if I exude that in these videos or not, but I don't know. We got way off topic here. Stereolab, Captain EasyChord. These are my thoughts on this. What are yours though? Did you enjoy it? Did anything stand out to you? Is there anything that you wanted to add on to what I said, or maybe correct me on if I misspoke about something? Let me know. Put all of that, any other thoughts or interpretations or perspectives that you have on this track, put it into the comment section below. Above that, in the description box, you'll find a link to, where's this button? Right here, Linktree. You can find links to my music, ways to support the channel, a link to the Discord server, and a bunch of other things. Above that, if you could like, subscribe, and ring the bell. I greatly appreciate all three of those. All right, that wraps it up for today. I'll be back tomorrow though, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 9 p.m. UTC, as usual. Until next time, remember to be critical, not cynical, of the music you listen to, and have a fantastic morning, afternoon, or evening, whenever you choose to watch my videos.